Hey guys, I'm Michael Reardon, 6ixRunner on Instagram. Back at it again with another podcast. This is number 2 for 2 years in a row, and I'm happy to be back. And if you guys are interested in following along my build, it's 6ixRunner on Instagram.
Okay, thank you, Michael. And I am your co-host, Trisha.
And I'm your other co-host, Wes. Michael, so stoked to have you back on board. We'll talk about it a little bit later on, but I know you got another color coming for your 4Runner. You guys got to go check this out on 6ixRunner, and that is 6 as in the letter, ixRunner on Instagram. And we've talked to him when it's been red. We're talking to him now when it's bluey, green, blue.
Teal.
I'm a guy. I don't talk teal.
I know. I say the same thing when people ask me, and I'm like, it's a teal. They're like, oh, that's kind of... And I'm like, hey, it looks good.
I saw something the other day, and he goes, pumpkin is not a color. It's a vegetable, right? And peach is not a color. Peach is a fruit. And
valid point.
Well, they're colors. They're colors.
But you know what? I have to say, it looks absolutely awesome. It's a 4Runner on 37s, and no matter what color it is, it looks awesome. So love having you back, and I can't wait to get in talking with some of the things you got coming up in the next little bit here as well. But before we hop into that, I want to mention last week's episode with Dominique from She Wanders Earth, and she's been living a van life for 6 years, and she's been all over Canada, been all over the States, down to the Mexico. She spent a winter down in Baja, and just a really great interview about the van life. It's not something that we have talked about much, but the overlanding world is very similar to the van life world, and she had some really great insights as a single female traveling all around North America. And it was really interesting. And we had some really great conversation about that. We actually had an interruption when we're recording about a male trying to approach her while she's sitting inside of her van while we're recording. And it opened up a whole new conversation in regards to the world of traveling as a single female. So coming up next week, we've also got the guys from HESP. HESP. They're a company out of the Lower Mainland, British Columbia, and they convert Land Rovers to electric vehicles. And I saw their Land Rover at the BC Overland Rally a couple months ago, and absolutely beautiful. They're taking Series 1 and some of the later model Land Rovers and converting them over into electric vehicles. That's going to be another wonderful conversation. So that's coming up next week. The other thing I want to mention this week, too, is to check out our YouTube channel, 4x4canadapodcast.com. We have the podcast coming up, so you can listen there to your full podcast. It is just a picture of our logo, so you can listen to it, have it on the background when you're doing your dishes or working in the garage or whatever. Same idea as you can on the apps like Spotify now, but we are going to be posting more shorts there. We are going to be posting up some product reviews as well too. So keep an eye out, check it out on YouTube, 4x4 Canada Podcast, and you can subscribe. And speaking of liking and subscribing, Michael, we want everybody to go to 6ixRunner on Instagram, and that's number 6ixRunner on Instagram, and check them out and their subscriber, whatever you do on Instagram.
Comment, share.
Swipe up.
You have to swipe left or right, or is that the wrong app?
No, that's the wrong app.
Michael, thanks again for coming on the show. Glad to have you back.
Glad to be back.
I know. We've always chatted off air and on Instagram and stuff, so there's so much to talk about. But first, obviously, congratulations on being like one of our top episodes our last year, right, Rust? In 2023. So congrats on that.
Thank you.
So how have you been since your last episode with us? What's been going on?
I've been busy, constantly working on the truck, and I do real estate full time, and that's been pretty busy this year. Mm-hmm. Between the two of them, I very rarely get free time. Definitely keeping me busy.
Yeah, so is life. So again, listeners can find you on the socials at 6ixRunner. And also you're part of a group called TRD North. I think we talked about the group a little bit on your last episode, but for our listeners who don't know, what is TRD North?
TRD North is a community. We're located in Ontario. It's pretty much just like a bunch of like-minded individuals who drive Toyotas, who like camping, off-roading, and modifying their vehicles. And it's just really a community to get everyone together, get everyone out, and enjoy the outdoors.
And it's all Toyota people, right?
I know, that's what I asked. I was like,
99% are Toyotas. There's a couple Jeeps. We do get a couple Chevys, Fords, and whatnot that mix in there with us as well. We're open to all brands. So if you like off-roading or you don't have a group of your own, by all means, you're always welcome here with us.
And how do people find out about TRD North?
So if you go on Instagram and you type in TRD and then NRTH and just give us a follow, shoot us a message if you want to come out to events, and yeah, we'd love to have you.
Are your events also posted? You guys have a Facebook page that you guys do?
We do have a Facebook page. We're not that active on Facebook, more on Instagram. Yeah. And then we have a big group chat. There's about 120 of us. And we usually we post everything in there. And then all day it's memes going back and forth. So it's a good time. It's definitely a good time. And it's free. It costs you absolutely nothing. There's no sign-up fee. There's no nothing. We do sell merch. We do host events and things like that.
Yeah, I have a stack of TRD North stickers, Wes. I have to send some up to you. I got at the last event, I think we bumped into each other on Beast's barbecue event, and I have a stack that big. All right. So obviously, we got to talk about your rig. Your 5th gen Toyota 4Runner. Mm-hmm. Last time we talked, you were on 37s. Has that changed?
So as of right this second, no. But on order, I do have a set of 38s by 13.5 by 17. Ooh. So those will be going on probably middle to end of September.
Yeah.
And yeah, pretty excited about that. Gonna have to do a little bit of clearance cutting, but I think it's worth it.
And we talked a little bit about, Wes was joking with you at the beginning about the colors. Yeah. So when I met you, your truck was a kind of like a candy apple red. Now it's teal blue. Let's start with what's going to go on with the colors, what's going on with the rig, what you have plans for it.
Okay, so it's going through a complete transformation. Right now it's teal. The new color it's a purple. It's like a nice, like vibrant purple. If you were to look at the candy red, it's almost like a candy purple. Mm-hmm. And it goes into wrap mid-September. Then we're doing front and rear bumpers, new roof rack, new tires, rock sliders, all new lighting from Diode Dynamics. What else do we got going? All new drawers. It's going to be wild. It's going to be a wild build this time around.
It's going to be completely different.
Totally different, yeah. So you also mentioned earlier why some of these changes are happening or why they're happening so fast in the next couple months. You are going to SEMA.
Yes. I've been working with this company now for just shy of a year. It's Attica 4x4, and they're down in California. And originally, I messaged them and said, hey, I love your headlights. I'd love a set for my truck. They said, yeah, no problem. They shipped them up. I made some pretty decent content for them. And I noticed on their YouTube that they attend SEMA. So I said, hey, listen, the guy, my contact there, Joseph, I said, hey, Joseph, listen, as a Canadian, SEMA's huge. I'd love an opportunity to get down there and be in the booth. And he said, yeah, no problem. We'll figure it out. And that was at the start of this year. And then about 2-3 weeks ago, I got a call from him and he said, hey, man, you're in. He said, so plan the month off and get down here.
A month, wow.
Yeah, driving down from here to Vegas, October 25th. SEMA starts November 5th to 8th. And then after that, I have 2 of my buddies coming down, meeting me in Moab. And we're going to go do Moab for a week, Colorado for a week, and just come back extremely slow. And just camp the whole way back. And then, I should be back towards the end of November.
Wow. That's a fun trip.
Have you been to SEMA before?
Never.
It is an incredible show. I've been a few times, and it's just absolutely mind-blowing. And it's grown since I've been there as well, too, right? Yeah, you're going to have so much fun. The one thing I will remind you is you will be in Las Vegas for Halloween.
I will, yeah. Actually, yeah, I will.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Las Vegas, because I've been there for SEMA with a couple days before SEMA for Halloween in Vegas. And let's just say it is one hell of a party.
Yeah. Really, eh? Looking forward to that then. Yeah, you know what also falls on that time? The U.S. election. So the
Right.
day of the election is November 5th, and that's the first day of SEMA.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
That's going to be
that'll be
interesting.
yeah. That's going to
Yeah,
be
so
really interesting.
yeah, so I guess we'll see what happens, and yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know
No matter which way it goes, it's going to be interesting.
for
Yeah.
sure.
So are you driving the rig to SEMA or are you
Yeah,
transporting?
no.
You are
So
driving.
I'm driving it down. I was gonna transport it, but so my parts ship next week, and then it was either I ship the truck down there and
Mm,
get them to do all the work, but then I don't have a car for a month and a half, or
right.
they ship parts up, I do the work, and then once I'm done, I start driving.
Okay.
And I've never driven to that side. I've driven down to Florida, there and back, and I've always needed an excuse to get out there. And then
Mm,
I was like, you know what? No time is better than now. And
yeah.
I booked a month off, and yeah, should be a good
Wow.
time.
That's a good time.
Good for you. Hitting Vegas and that, it's a nice time of year as well, temperature wise. Like it gets cold at night for sure, but it's
Mhm.
not like Vegas in August or something like that. So great temperature and then heading over to Moab, man, that's going to be a great month.
Oh yeah, I've probably watched every Moab video on YouTube. Yeah, like all my spots planned out. I know where I'm staying, where I'm stopping, and
Nice.
it's compared to what in Ontario and what we like wheel in, and then you
Mhm.
see that, and it can't even be the same planet really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what mods do you having to do to get those 38?
So I have a set of lower control arms coming in, and that'll push my wheel an inch forward.
Okay.
And with the 37s, I don't rub at all. I'm on a negative 38 SSW wheel, and fantastic, no issues. I could stuff it in the front, no problem. So a 38 is not much bigger,
Yeah.
but I figured give myself that extra inch. So shouldn't be too much of an issue. I'll probably flex it out on the ramp at Beast Off Road and then just cut accordingly.
Yep. Yeah. In reality, it's only a half inch bigger, right?
Yeah.
When you take in half inch on each side, not that much bigger. So you mentioned some of the other mods. Was that a bumper change I heard as well too in there?
Yeah. So Attica has a new set of like 5th-gen 4Runner front and rear bumpers. They have a new roof rack that's being released at SEMA. New headlights, new tail lights, new rock sliders. So they're sending all that up that I'm going to put on the truck and then drive it down. So it'll all be released at SEMA.
Cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was actually just checking out their site and they got quite a bit of variety of products actually. I was surprised by it.
Yeah, so they have Jeep stuff, they have Bronco
Yeah.
stuff. I think they even just launched a set of F-150 headlights. So I believe, I'm not sure how long they've been around, but I believe they're a newer company compared to others. But
Yeah.
their products are pretty good. Like I've had Morimoto, Alpha Rex headlights, and I've warrantied them all. And this is the only set of headlights I've had that I've had zero issues with, zero condensation in the lenses, and they're just as bright as day one.
Perfect.
Very good.
Yeah.
Shout out to them. Yeah. And it's cool and that you're working with an American company because we were talking like how it's really hard for like Canadians to get into that American niche and American market and vice versa. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I find with a lot of companies, as soon as you say you're in Canada, it's, like we love your truck, your social media is cool, but we don't ship to Canada or it costs too much. And I have suspension coming in from Locked Off Road, and UPS today sent me a bill for $500 for customs. Yeah. No, take this in. So on the receipt, it says $0, right? Like
Right.
$0 paid. And they're like, oh, like estimated off of $0 paid, but it's $488. And I was like, you're charging me HST, GST, PST on $0, and it's $283 just for the tax, and then another 150 broker, 130, whatever, and then HST on top of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
UPS is one of the worst ones, unfortunately. They have so many false charges and things like that yeah, unfortunately, they're one of the worst, but we're screwed by living in Canada, unfortunately. They've got us by the short and curlies.
Yeah, and there's a couple of good companies in Canada that do offer 5th-gen parts like OK Expedition, Coastal Off Road.
Yeah.
But they're just, compared to the States, we just need more up here
Mm-hmm.
to save us on taxes.
Exactly. And as we were talking earlier off air, the fact that the population in Canada is almost the same as the population in California kind of idea. So it's really hard for the American companies to push into the States, but it was where you get those companies like OK Expedition and saw this niche that they can fill and put out a great product and ship it decently across Canada without having to pay that.
Their products, like I run their products, all their skid plates, love them. It's a great finish. I've had no issues with them. I've smashed those skid plates and no issues at all. I'd highly recommend them. And thank God they're a Canadian company, because shipping all that aluminum from the States would be like almost double the price. What I've realized is when you see a nice Jeep or 4Runner in the States and say they're like, oh, I spent $50,000 on it. If you were to build that truck in Canada, you're looking at 75.
Yeah, that's the sad part about it. And I know all dealing with customs and that in my previous job for 11 years, I was a purchaser. And so I ordered a lot of stuff in from the States, and customs was a constant thorn in my side. And even having a broker, we still paid a ton of customs duty on it and freight as well too.
Oh, yeah.
So but that's one of the reasons we started the podcast, was to help promote some of these Canadian companies as well, whether it be companies like TMR or OK Expedition or Ontario Overland Racks or any of those Canadian companies that we can help push and support, because the more that they see the support from Canadians, the more other companies like them will pop up as well too. So we do love our Canadian products for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
Basecamp. I want to talk about Basecamp. So Basecamp, let me just get this, make sure I have it right. So Basecamp is part of TRD North?
Like, so Basecamp is like our like yearly event.
Yearly event. Okay.
Yeah, just to get all the club members together. We sell tickets. So pretty much what we do is we rent out like either an entire or half of a campground. Mm-hmm. Or like a resort, and then we sell the tickets. People buy the tickets and they show up. And this year it's in Huntsville, Ontario, and we offer, there's a lazy river, we have a beach, there's a dog park, there's communal fire pits, mini putt. So it's like a whole event. And then I reach out to companies and say, hey, this is our event. If you guys are interested, send out a product or whatnot, and we'll promote you guys through our club. And this year we ended up getting a lot of really cool companies to get involved, and we have a lot of good giveaways for the people that bought their tickets.
And when is that event happening?
So that's September 6th to 8th.
So a couple weeks.
Yeah. Next weekend. Yeah, next weekend.
Cool. And again, that's the best bet is talk to, if if people are interested in the TRD North, check them out on Instagram. It's probably the best way to keep up with going on, for sure.
And this is your second year doing Basecamp, is it?
Yeah, so this is our second year doing Basecamp. The first year, I believe we had 40 trucks, around 40 vehicles. Yeah, this year we have 60. This year we found that a lot of people are bringing like a significant other or kids. So we're over 100 people that are coming.
Wow.
So definitely saw some growth. I believe last year it was like 55 people, so almost doubled in size. And next year, hopefully it's 150.
That's good. It brings like the community together, camaraderie, and spending time and doing all that activities, having all that stuff there too, like the lake and a dog park for the dogs to like get off leash and run around. And we have a lot of off-roading dogs in the community here. So that's a good event. I'm going to have to make sure I get out there next year.
You do. Like, I found that there's so many like Jeep clubs and like off-road clubs, but there was never really anything like specific for the Toyota guys. So I figured, it started off with like just like a group chat, and everyone added their friends, and it grew. And then people were like, oh, like, how do I get a sticker? How do I get a t-shirt? Oh, like, I'm putting this lift on. Has anyone run this? Oh, does anyone have tires for sale? So it really bloomed into this community that it's at now. And yeah, so like once a year we do season opener. We had 73 trucks come out for that at the start. We have season closer. I believe it's like mid-October. And then we do Basecamp. And then in between that, we'll go out for dinner or beers and say, hey, we're going here. And if you're interested, come out for dinner type deal. This year we were so busy, we didn't really have time for a lot of events. But next year, I think we're going to try to, bring someone in that's their dedicated role, just to host events, go on trail rides, and keep the group more together.
Okay, when's your trail day? Mid-October?
Mid-October. So I don't know if I'm going to be there or not. I don't know if the truck's going to be done. But yeah, you guys have your season
I'm
closer.
laughing, Wes, because
Is that the same weekend?
I swear it's not the same weekend. Again. Oh,
Yeah.
last time when they had their 70 or 80, 90, whatever amount of vehicles on the trail, we ended up doing GTA Jeep Girls Trail One as well on the same day.
Yeah, it's like our season opening weekend. It's like the first weekend in May or May 1st, whatever weekend comes right after that.
Yeah.
And every year we're always on the trail, same day, roughly the same time.
I know. This year, I think it was, you guys went Saturday, we went the Sunday. I'm like, oh, thank God. Just because it's a smaller trail and you can't really get around each other. So when you have two big groups, we're like trying to sync and coordinate. Okay, your group's going to go first and we'll go after. We'll wait for you guys to go around. But it was fun seeing their group as they were passing us on the trail last time. But
yeah, it's always a good time to see people out there. And that trail is, I believe, is like the perfect trail for people. Like, we get so many new people who say, oh, I drive a stock 4Runner. I don't know what mods to do. I'm on stock tires. What do you recommend? And I always say, come out to the first event at the start of the year, walk around, talk to everyone. There's usually like 70, 80 rigs. So you can see, and I'd say majority of them are 5th gen 4Runners. So it's like you can go and see everybody's build and then talk to them, figure out what suits your needs the best. Right. And then, yeah, I mean, the trail, you could do it probably in a Honda Civic. I've seen Honda Civics on the trail. if you get a lot of rain, it's like a lot of mud, it's really wet, and a lot of people have a good time.
They have a good time.
You can do it with a stock vehicle, and it's a trail you do if you want to gain some confidence when you're like brand new to off-roading.
100%. Yeah, I would say the same thing. And it's fun. It's like an easy trail for us, but it's just taking the videos and the pictures and seeing everyone just having fun. Like getting to know each other, going through when it's wet, you're going through the little like mud puddles, and it's fun. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, and it's the first event of the year too, so everyone's cooped up all winter. There's not a lot of trails in Ontario that are open all year. I think it's just Ray's Place that's open, or in an off-road park. Yeah. And people are dying to get out. And it's funny because everyone comes out, their truck's all clean and polished and whatnot. And at the end of it, the engine bay is dirtier than they've ever seen it. And I've had people call me, oh, it feels like I need an alignment. The front of my truck's shaking. And I'm like, just pull over, get out of the car. I'm like, how much mud is stuck to your wheel? I'm like, just take it to the car wash, give it a rinse. And we have so many people. And then the best part is, like, in the group, like even the 400 Ontario group, like we combined them for the season opener. And people post in there like a video, and like the guy will be like recording and his wife will be screaming in the seat beside him. And it's like moments like that is like why, I put on that event, because it gets people like happy. They see other vehicles go through, and it's like a great introduction for people that are new to this.
Yep. And then it all starts from there, and it just, the mud and the wallets start going and the changes start coming, and then you see people like at other events or like your time down the road, and you're like, oh my God, you changed your rig or the did, or so and they're going on trails and bigger trails. It's like pretty cool. It's really rewarding. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. When you give people that little spark at the start, and then a year later, or the season closer in October, so pulls up and they're on like 35s, and you're like, whoa, what happened?
I feel like a drug dealer because you get them hooked.
Oh, perfect description. Yeah, we've had a couple people, they'll call Beast Off Road and they'll be like, hey, I want 35s. And they're like, okay, what tires are you on now? Oh, so I'm completely stocked. What do I need to spend to get on 35s? And the thing that a lot of people don't realize, and I saw this like perfect meme the other day, and it's this guy who has like a built 4Runner, and then he gets into his like a stock 4Runner and he's driving it, and he just looks over at his wife and he's like, I ruined. Because unfortunately, I don't know if it's the same with Jeeps, but with Toyotas, once you run a 35, you do all the work to it, and you're on a mud terrain, it doesn't drive. It's comfortable, it's decent, but compared to like stock everything, like brand new, a lot of people still want that comfortable ride, but it's just not there. You're not going to get it.
Nope. It's loud. It's vibrating. It's gas mileage is going up.
Brakes are brake. It takes you so much longer to brake and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. I couldn't tell you how many times I've come off a trail and like my steering wheel, instead of this, it's like upside down. And we have the IFS. Keeping alignment with those trucks is
Yep.
a struggle in its own. And yeah, like so many times, like my steering wheel is like upside down and I'm driving home and I'm like, hopefully I make it home. But thank God I've never been stuck on the side of the road.
I know the feeling. I've got to do a alignment with my Tacoma. I'm starting to get some wear issues and stuff like that. So I feel your pain.
Yeah, 100%. And if anyone's listening and you have alignment issues with your Toyota, get the cam tab gussets. Those will keep your alignment. Like, fantastic product, pretty cheap. The install depends if you can weld. It's it's obviously free, but if a shop has to do it, it's a couple hours of labor. And what you pay in alignments in a year, or it pays for your cam tabs.
Yeah. Jeeps still have their death wobble, right? So that's a whole other issue.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that firsthand, and that's sketchy.
Yeah.
For sure. One of the other things to think about maybe next year, if you have more people planning events, is a ladies run. Yeah. I know I've been involved with a few of them. I started one here in Kamloops, and how we did it, just as a different thought, but it had to be ladies drivers, or a guy could drive if he wore a dress and a wig.
That sounds like a good time. So, like, it sounds like we do a Halloween like trail ride like that, and everyone wears the costume. You can't come unless you wear like a full. Not even though I'm wearing a hockey jersey. No, it's a full getup. And we'll I think last year we ran Anson South, and we were out there for a couple hours, and we're all muddy and penguin costume. It's stupid that you're just having such a good time though. But yeah, I like that a lot.
Oh my god, that's too funny. If you guys do that this year, please post pictures and videos.
Yeah, this year I won't be there, but if the guys will put it together, then yeah, I'll definitely tag you guys for that.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's a good point, because the group is so big and there's probably tons of lady drivers in your group.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Well, even a lot of lady passengers. That's what I've found, is that a lot of times the ladies will be a passenger because the guy always drives. So giving them the opportunity to go out and see it from the other side, and also give the opportunity for the guys to see what it's like on the passenger side.
My wife driving my girl driving my rig.
Yeah, I went up to Ardbeg I think it was like 3 weeks ago, and my girlfriend, we're in a 2-door Jeep, and I tell you, a solid axle it drives so much differently than IFS. We're in this little 2-door and on 35s, and it's a manual, so every little bump you're like shaking around in the cab, and I'm like, I don't know how people do this. It's not a very comfortable ride.
It's not bad.
But they have articulation.
No. Yeah. And then they have back problems. Such a rough ride compared to like the IFS.
Yeah.
Okay, the solid axle, I guess it's more capable and whatnot, but it just rides so much smoother.
Mm-hmm. So basically, you would never be a Jeep guy. You would never be a Jeep guy.
I don't know. To be honest, I have my eyes on the Bronco, like a Bronco Raptor. I think that if I do ever switch, but now that the new Land Cruiser's out, I think that's in my cards for the next year.
I've seen a few of those done up nice, and a 2-inch lift, you can put 35s on them.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just, obviously you wouldn't stick with 35s because that's not how your mind works. But yeah, they're such a great looking rig when they're done up. I've seen a few of them, and yeah, they're absolutely beautiful. Yeah,
there's a teal one in the States. I can't remember what shop put it together, but they make bumpers for them as well. And I think he's on 37s or 38s, 3-inch lift. And I think he just ran the Rubicon Trail, and I was like, but that's it. That's the next one for sure.
But now you can't afford to sell yours, though.
I was going to say, that's my next question. Will you ever sell your rig? And if you did, what would you get?
So if I was to ever sell, I honestly, like, for me, I do sales for a living. So for me, everything has a price. So if I hear like a good number on a good day, I would let it go. Because I say that now, but I don't know. I feel like I'm not done building it yet. Because next year I want to start jumping it. I'm 3-linking the rear. What is it? Like 2 weeks from now. so with that, I'll have like good droop. I'm on triple bypasses in the rear, and then I was gonna solid axle swap the front, but I'm just gonna long travel it 3.5 inches wider in the front. Then next year, take all the weight off of it and reinforce that frame and just send it.
I thought you were going to say solid axle, but after putting down a Jeep solid axle, you can't
Yeah.
really go there.
Yeah, after driving it like 3 weekends ago, I was like, oh, I can't. You know,
Have you seen Phil from Crave Automotive? Have you seen his
Yes.
Tacoma?
yeah,
That
it's
thing is
beautiful.
absolutely beautiful, you know, with a long travel and supercharged and that. And I
Yeah.
saw it about a month ago, and it was just, it's an incredible machine. So to our listeners, check out Geo Scout Adventures on Instagram or Crave Automotive, because Ville's Tacoma is just an absolute killer. He's 37s long travel, and yeah, pretty cool machine.
Yeah, I think he has it for sale.
He had it for sale. I think he's
He
keeping
had it
it.
for sale.
Yeah.
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 Because I saw it for sale and I messaged him and I was like, hey, you really letting it go? And he's like, I get the right price. And obviously, I'm not one to buy a built truck. I'd like to build it myself. That's why I think that's what we're going to do with the 4Runner. And I don't know. If I was down at SEMA and someone said, hey, US money, you don't have to drive back, I think I would let it go.
Just have to put a little for sale sign in it.
Yeah.
The new Land Cruiser is something else, and the new Bronco, I actually really like the look of the new Bronco. There's pros and cons to it as well, but I think there's pros and cons to any vehicle out in the market. But I do really like the look. I am a Bronco guy. I've had 6 early Broncos over the years, so I'm definitely a Bronco guy. So I really enjoy that classic look to it. But yeah, it's a tough decision on what vehicle out there to buy these days.
I know. So I have a good buddy of mine. He has like the Bronco Badlands or whatever one comes with the 35s.
Yeah.
And he was on Scotch Line, cracked his frame.
Ooh.
And then, so the Ford didn't warranty it. His insurance company wrote it off. And after that, I don't know. I think I might do the Land Cruiser.
Yep.
But I don't know. Like if the reliability is anything like the Tundra, where they're like replacing engines and whatnot, then I might wait a couple years before I go down that avenue.
They always say not to buy the first year or two of a vehicle, right? There is some issues with the 2024 Tacomas as well too right now. One of the vehicles, I know it's not in your religion to do it, but one of the vehicles that actually really interests me is the new ZR2s from their, with all the updates that they've done over the last year. I think that's definitely one of the more interesting vehicles out there, but there's so many choices out there.
Yeah. For me, I think I'd keep it Toyota just for the reliability. Because to be honest, like I had a Jeep Grand Cherokee, and I think I said last time, I had nothing but issues with it. I cracked the speaker cover, center console was cracked. I never even wheeled the truck. It was like just like to tow the boat to the lake type deal. Turbo blew up on the highway, engine blew up on the highway, and they wouldn't warranty it 2,000 kilometers over the warranty. And after that whole experience, for me, don't get me wrong, I see a lot of nice Jeeps at the shop. I see them on the trail. I like the look of them, but for me, I trade all that for reliability.
Yeah, for sure.
Fair enough. No, I get it though. I get it. I see myself not trading my Jeep. Like I feel like I know it's rough. I know it's not the most comfortable ride, but I love my Jeep. But I understand what you're saying. Like you just get comfortable what you like. You know what you like too, right?
Yeah. Do you like it because you could take the roof off and the doors?
That too.
Funny enough, there used to be a company that made, what are they called? Tube doors for the 5th gen 4Runner.
Yeah.
And I hesitated on ordering them a couple years ago, and now the company no longer exists, and that's probably one of my biggest regrets.
Oh no!
Is not just pulling trigger on those doors, because it looked amazing.
That'd be so sick.
Yeah.
If you ran like tube doors, you just had your doors on, run tube doors.
Yeah. So if there's a fab guy and you're listening, hit me up. I'm looking for some tube doors for my 5th gen, preferably front and rear.
Did you know that in BC, you're not allowed to run without doors, even Jeeps?
I did not know that.
Because doors were a part of the body, basically. So up to 1986, the Jeep CJs had the doors were actually officially an option. So on earlier ones you can, and the very early Broncos, because they had the Roadster without the doors, you can run without doors for those. But anything after the 86 Jeep CJs, legally, you're supposed to run doors on them. So there's lots of people running the tube doors on them, but there's also a lot of people getting busted for them too. So
For the tube doors too?
Yep, because it's not a support or an integral part of the body. So yeah, as far as I know, BC is the only province like that. So
that's pretty wild, because I'd imagine there's a lot of Jeeps out there.
Yeah. So like I say, a lot of people do run the doors, but it also depends. Same thing with light bars and stuff like that. It's all up. A lot of it's up to the discretion of the police officer whether they pull people over or not. But
I know here it's like the tires, like running like wide set tires. I had a couple friends who got pulled over for tickets for that.
Yeah, I got pulled over at this. I think it was January 1st of this year. And I thought it was like, okay, my exhaust doesn't go all the way to the back. My tires stick out way past the fenders. You could nail me for anything on that truck. And he's like, yeah, you're going 10 over. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, you're going 10 over. And I was like,
no, you see how big
I'm
my
like,
truck
it's January 1st. I'm like, don't be that guy. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, listen, I have a clean driving abstract. I'm like, please don't give me a ticket. Give me a warning. He's like, all right, give me your license, whatnot. Walks to his car, comes back, ticket for 5 over.
Oh, what a dick!
Yeah, January 1st. So that's how I started my year this year.
Oh, that's brutal. Knock on wood, I haven't had a ticket in years.
Yeah.
Have you named your rig?
What do you mean?
Like, you know how Jeep owners, I guess a lot of people, they named the rig. Have you actually named your rig? Does she have a name? Is it a he or is it a she?
I've never named it.
No?
No, I've never even thought of it, to be honest.
Have you ever named other cars? People have like names for other cars. Big Betty, or I don't know, something weird.
No, it's 2024. It's completely up to the car what it identifies as.
Yeah.
I don't want to assume it's gender or pronouns. It is what it is.
It changes its hair color so often every year.
Yeah, if you look at it like that, the blue, people probably think it's nuts. But
so, when you're out wheeling in Ontario, we've talked a little bit about it, but what are some of your favorite areas out in Ontario?
Ooh, Kawartha Lakes. I really like Kawartha Lakes, Bobcaygeon, Ardbeg, Minden. That's like really the only areas that I really go to, just because it's a 2.5 hour drive away from the city.
Yeah.
Was in Ardbeg the other weekend. That was a good time. Minden's always fun. Bobcaygeon's good. There's a lot of good trails in that Bobcaygeon area as well.
That's your area too, isn't it, Trish?
Mm-hmm. It is, yeah. Yeah. It's funny. We were talking. I was telling him how I wheeled with a 4Runner over the weekend. She was so badass on that trail. This trail was like, it was so tight, Wes. You barely can fit like Jeep through. Like this, just trees, rocks, like tight, like so technical. And this 4Runner, she was like going around, like behind me, just 8-point turns. It was crazy. I was like, we were calling her over. I think we called her Big Bertha at one time. We're like, Big Bertha's coming.
Big Butt Bertha.
Yeah, Big Butt Bertha. And we're like, it's like amazing. Because I never wheeled with a 4Runner before. So seeing that on the trail, I'm like, holy shoot. Because I'm like, okay, they're big cars. Like they're big rigs. So that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, and most of the 4Runners I find, they all have rooftop tents. It's more like they wheel pretty good, but a lot of people set them up for overland rigs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then, like, for me, next year, that's why I want to step away from that overland vibe and just get a trailer. And then have all your stuff on there, your shower. Because the way that, like, my truck's weighed down right now is, so you have a shower room. I have a shower, a hot water heater, drawers in the back. Everything that you have, like, in your apartment or house is on that truck. And when you go to wheel that and you go to flex it out and whatnot, just being that top heavy, it's a hassle.
So that's part of the change then. You're going to be more of going into a trailer kind of, should I say lifestyle, than the overland rooftop tent? You're gonna wheel? Are you gonna wheel more then?
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to wheel a lot more next year. So SEMA will be like an overland build, just because I'll be down there for about a month, and then when I get back, I'll slowly take off the rear bumper, front bumper. I'm thinking about doing like just like a little tube front bumper. Same with the back, something with a lightweight tire carrier, and then no rooftop tent. Maybe get either like one of the overland trailers, and then put my rooftop tent on that, and get to the trailhead or get to the campsite, drop it off, and then the rest of the weekend you can enjoy actually driving the truck.
Yeah.
Because with the amount of weight, you go climb a rock, whatnot, and I don't run sway bars, so you always feel like you're going to flip the truck.
Yeah, that oh shit moment. It's oh shit moment.
Where you have to check that all your tires are still on the ground.
Wait, are they all there? Am I two-wheeling right now?
100%. 100%. Like, you think about a rooftop tent, so I run solar on the roof. I got 200-watt panels up there, and then with the tent, I'm probably around 200 pounds. And when you have it that high up, you go up on any sort of articulation, and it just leans. If you drove behind me on an on-ramp or an off-ramp, the whole truck goes like this.
Yeah. Maybe you do have sway bars. Maybe they're just disconnected.
No, they don't exist. So unfortunately, I had the KDSS model, and like they go on, like KDSS also is on Lexus and a couple other vehicles, and mine leaked right past the warranty time. And I called Toyota. I was like, "Hey, listen, what can we do about this?" And they said $7,000 Canadian just for the part, and then you have to find a dealership has a pressurizing tool to repressurize the system. And they said they can't just replace like one portion of the line. They said the whole thing has to be ripped out, reinstalled. So you're looking about $10,000. Yeah. So then I called John at Beast Off Road, and I was like, "Hey man, you got a Sawzall?" And he's, "Yeah." I was like, "I'm coming by. We're cutting this shit out."
Yeah, that's a common 4Runner issue, unfortunately.
Oh.
Yeah, like the KDSS was cool when it worked, and it's very restrictive. And they say, "Oh, no more than 2.5 in the back, 3 in the front." But you can get like KDSS spacers, and that does give you an extra inch, half inch. But when you go to flex out the truck, you're still so limited until you go without sway bars. But if you don't plan on like building it, then I would just keep it. Or if you're not into that, just get the original sway bars. Get an SR5 or get the Pro, where it doesn't come with the sway bars.
How high are you lifted? What's your lift?
So in the back, I'm running about 6 inches. In the front, I'm about 5. So I have the coils in the front set to 4 inches. I run a 1-inch body lift all around. And in the back, I'm running, 4.5 inches of actual like spring, and then about an inch of body lift. And I find it gets really flexy in the back, and I like that. And you go over bumps, and it's great. But I'm gonna switch out the suspension, and I think I said like next week. So I got like triple bypasses coming from the back, 12-inch, and 3-link the back, and then I have new coilovers coming for the front. So should be a much better ride, because Dobinson, great product, no complaints with them. But when you go to fully, like, I'd say they're like, if you're getting into it, you wheel on weekends, you enjoy the sport, great product. But if you want to go to that next level, you have to step out of that shock, and you have to go to something custom, or you have to go with ADS or Locked Off Road or King, or even Elka. Even like a good setup from Elka is comparable as well.
It's just basically you go from the 5100 Bilstein up to the Dobinsons, and then there's 3 or 4 levels, right? And you just got to go from that up to that next level. So it's going to be interesting to see. I can't wait to see with all these modifications going with the 3-link on it. And
it's going to be flexy. So it's actually pretty wild, because in the back, so you have the coil, and then there's a piece that goes underneath that holds the spring in from the bottom and the top. So when you go to flex it out with a 12-inch, it's literally the whole spring is like a slinky. It gets held on both sides, but it's like that spring is so stretched.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I'll get some good pictures of you.
I bet. Yeah. So you said you're going to go triple bypasses on the back. How are you mounting that at the top? Or you're still staying under the body line, or are you going into the fender?
So pretty much the mount that goes now is you have a frame like here, and then you have a little mount that you put the shock top through.
Yeah.
So this all gets cut out, and then you don't have to cut into the body, but it's like a new shock tower. And with that, and you lower the lower mount about, I think it's like 2 inches or so, you can run the 12. You can run a 14 too, but for me, 12 is more than enough.
Yeah, you're not going to be desert racing with it or anything like that, right?
No.
Yeah.
No.
And he's going with 2 times. You're going out there, man. 14,
Yeah. No, that is true. Maybe down the road. At this point, I think that a 12 will be perfect for me. And then in the front, I'll have a triple bypass and a coilover, and it should ride pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be a really impressive ride, I think, to be honest with you. It's awesome.
Yeah. I really hope so. Really hope so, because it wasn't cheap.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the prices of those, so I know it's, yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Trish.
What has been your favorite mod so far that you've done?
Ooh.
I know you've done a lot, but is there something that you're like, something maybe that you wanted to get really badly on your rig and you did get it and you're like, yeah, this is it? Or is there something that you're like,
So once the suspension goes on, I think that'll be it for me. Like my favorite mod. Because since I started this build, I want long travel. I want a 3-link the back. And that's every 5th gen 4Runner. Once you get it to that level, it's like in a league of your own. Maybe there's like another 50 people in North America that have that setup. And then one mod that I want so bad is a carbon fiber hood. Yeah, I want the Sabon carbon fiber hood. I don't know what it is, but it has a spot in my heart, and hopefully I can get that when I'm down there.
Yeah, save on the shipping.
Yeah, so the shipping for that would be like $500 to $800, and if I pick it up in California, which is like a 3.5 hour drive from Vegas, then that would work. But then what am I going to do with my hood? Ship that back?
Yeah, that's true.
That's the hardest thing. Is then it's like I leave a hood down there that I could sell it back home for $500 and recoup some of the loss. But
yeah,
yeah, but it also you don't have to pay those extra taxes and stuff like that too, right? So you're saving quite a bit.
Yeah, I'll try to find someone like an SR5 who wants the little deflector on the hood and hopefully get it sold down there.
Look nice. Yeah.
So you're involved. You also have new people with coming out onto your events and stuff like that. What advice would you give to somebody that's just getting into the 4x4 or the overlanding world in regards to maybe some of the first purchases to make, as well as how to gain more experience or what to do to gain more experience?
So my go-to is, and what I tell everyone is, you want to have an idea of what you want to use your vehicle for. And I'd say majority is just for overlanding. And it all depends on if they go by themselves or they go in a group. If they're new to it, they don't know anyone, I say a good set of tires is like definitely a go-to. And if you do plan on taking your family out and it's just you out there, get a winch, because that'll get you out of 90% of your situations. And if you're looking to meet new people, join a group. Doesn't matter what group it is, whether you have a Jeep, Toyota, Ford, whatever's out there. Just join a group, meet people, and you'll learn a lot from the group that you join.
Definitely 100%. And I find that one of the things that I recommend, and I know Trisha does as well a lot of times, is drive your vehicle stockish for the first little bit. And so you can find out what the vehicle's limits are and what your limits are. And we see so many people hop into a Jeep and run 35s or 37s right out of the showroom, and they don't really understand the vehicle and the dynamics of the vehicle, and it also helps them gain experience as well too.
But for sure. I'm guilty of that myself, because when I first started off about 4 years ago, I had experience. I always had ATVs, dirt bikes, always kind of anything with a motor I enjoyed. And when I started building my truck, I was like, I want my abilities to hold me back and not my vehicle. So I bit off more than I could chew, built the truck like overly built for like my abilities. And it worked for me. I don't know. For other people.
Well, I think the biggest thing is get out with a group of people and that have a little bit of experience and can help spot you through some of the areas and give you some of that experience. So whether it be with the TRD North guys or the GTA Jeep girls or the Ontario Federation of Four-Wheel Drive Enthusiasts, I believe is the terminology on that, but any of those groups that do some of those newbie runs and stuff like that, like what you were talking about earlier. And I think the newbie runs is a huge benefactor for everybody that's new to the sport, because we're seeing more and more people new to the sport, and we're seeing people of different ages and different races and different sexes and different everything, right? We're seeing a lot more people being involved now than what there was years ago.
Sure. No, 100%. We have a couple of members of our group that came over from India, didn't know anybody, got a 4Runner because I guess back in India, that's a very desirable vehicle. And they have no one to go off-roading with, and they'd come into Beast Off-Road and say, hey, you guys like do trail events? And they'd say, oh, call Mike, and they'd join the group. And now like we have a good Indian population in our club, and they always get together and they cook great food out on the trail, and just a good bunch of guys. And I feel it's off-roading and overlanding brings everyone together, and it's a good environment to be around.
Definitely, 100%. I grew up in it, and it just keeps on getting better and better, I think, as we get more people and different people involved, right? That's one thing that I really like seeing is all the different cultures out there, and it's been really interesting for that aspect. And I really enjoy seeing a lot of the women out there as well, too, and more women out there driving, I should say. Because a lot of times women were there, but they were always in the passenger seat. So it's really neat seeing ladies like Trisha out there driving, and ladies like Trisha out there guiding and spotting these new lady drivers as well, too. I still think that you guys should look at doing a ladies run next year.
Wes is really rooting for that.
No, for sure.
I just want to see Michael in a dress and a wig.
I would do it. Why not? Why not? Because we do have a large, like in the 4Runners of Ontario group, we do have, I'd say it's like 30-40% women, right? So
that's cool.
The only thing is we'd have to find like a woman that, like maybe Trisha, if you want to take that on and you want to guide them, I'll send them your way.
Oh yeah, guys, follow my tiny Jeep, everyone.
Yeah, and then they're all like super nice people. They come out to the events and they're always like, "Oh, how do I get my radio to work? And what do I do?" And they're all brand new to it. So you have to do a full introduction and get them all set up. But when at the end of the day, when they've had a blast and they're like, "Wow, like I never thought like I would ever do this," and you see the smile on their face, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah. That's the best part, is seeing the smiles on everybody's faces. So whether they're kids or adults or male or female, that's what it's all about, is see everybody enjoying themselves and having fun.
What Canadian would we like to hear on the 4x4 Canada podcast?
Sorry, can you say that again?
What Canadian?
I was so sorry. I couldn't hear you. Sorry.
Is my mic going weird, chipmunks?
No, I was like, I didn't know if you said who you'd like to hear or what you'd like to hear on the podcast. So I was like,
he just tuned you out like I do.
Yeah, basically.
No, my bad. I wasn't even distracted. I couldn't hear like the one word. I didn't want to like answer something ridiculous.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so what Canadian would you like to hear on the 4x4 Canada podcast?
I don't know if he'd do it, but Dan Novak from Beast Off-Road. You have to get Dan out there.
My gosh. You know how many times I've been to the shop? I always tell him, he's like, Trish, of course. Okay, let's set up a date. They're always so busy. So
I know. Or try to get John. You can put us in there if you want. He's a little antisocial.
Yeah,
so it'd be a super awkward episode. So if you're looking for views, get John on video. He's a character.
We have had so many people recommend Dan and John from Beast Off-Road that we're gonna have to try a little harder, push a little harder on those guys. But yeah, we've had quite a few people mention them for sure. They're on our hit list. So
we do the Beast Off-Road events, and me and Dan go on the mic, and we try to get John to come out. And John's like, "No," I'm like, "These are your customers, man." I'm like, "Get out of here." And he's, "No, I'm not going to talk in front of people." And I'll be like, and then up next is John. John, come on out. And John just leaves. And it's great because it's the same reaction every single time. And if you watch like any YouTube videos, I think Overland North did a video and they're like interviewing like I guess Dan or the shop owner or whatnot, and then John's just like nowhere to be found. And like they pan the camera over to John and he's just like walking away.
People aren't into it, right? So that's what makes the world turn around.
100%. I'll talk to Dan for you guys because I think that he, Base Camp by Nightfall, the event that he puts on, I think that's really going places, and he's been in the industry for a super long time, and he's very knowledgeable about everything he does. I think he would definitely be a great addition to this.
Definitely a good idea for sure. So if you can put a good word in with them for us, and because from everything I've heard, they're a wonderful group of guys there at Beast Off Road, and we have had a few other people recommend them as well too.
Yeah, you guys did an episode with Joel, right? Joel Tremblay.
Yes. Yeah.
Did he recommend Dan too?
I don't think he did, but Luke did from Overland North. So I know we talked about Beast. Yeah. We did talk about Beast with the episode with Joel, but I can't remember who Joel recommended offhand. But I know that Luke from Overland North the week before, he recommended them as well too.
Nice. Yeah. I guess he knows too that if John jumps on there, it's going to be good views for the episode.
Exactly.
Just have to show up to the shop with the mic, and that's it. And then we're just going to do it there.
The shop is like his little safe zone. So, like if you catch him out at an event or something, just pull out a mic, start asking questions, and you'll see him wet.
Oh, poor guy.
I think for the shop owner, he would have it down pat by now, 5 years in business, but no, avoid the camera at all costs. Social media, all that. He just doesn't want to be the face of. He doesn't want to have his face out there.
Yep, fair enough.
Oh yes, Joel did shout out Beast Off Road because I have it in my notes.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So once again, we're talking with Michael. He is known as 6ixRunner on Instagram. Then that is 6 and then ixRunner on Instagram. As mentioned, you got to check out his 4Runner and check out what he's got coming up in the next couple of weeks here as he heads down to the SEMA show. I'm really looking forward to seeing the coverage from the SEMA show as well as your coverage from the Moab trip after, because I think that's going to be quite interesting down there. So especially with all your new mods.
Oh, 100%. I think like SEMA for me I feel like that's going to be like an unreal experience, but just to be down there and do Moab, I'm looking more forward to just the camping out there and the wheeling.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, definitely, folks, check him out. 6ixRunner on Instagram. And once again, thanks for coming out tonight, Michael. I know it's getting late over there, and I definitely appreciate you taking the time and coming back for your second time on the 4x4 Canada podcast. We enjoyed it the first time so much, we brought you back for a second one.
And I'll be back next year.
There we go. with a new color.
100%. Next year is going to be a whole new build. Everything.
Definitely, he's got one of the most interesting 4Runners in all of Canada, I would say. One of the most heavily modified 4Runners in Canada. And even if you're not a Toyota fan, definitely worth checking him out. And love seeing all your cover you do, your reels, and all your wheeling out there in Ontario. So once again, thanks a lot for coming on tonight, Michael. Really appreciate you.
Absolutely. And I appreciate both of you guys for having me back. We had a great time the first time, and it was another great experience. And I wish you guys the best, and hopefully next year we get to run it back again.
Yeah. Thank you.
Definitely. Awesome. Sounds good, Michael. We'll talk to you soon.